this tutorial, you're going to be learning about Python functions. So we are going to be looking at what it means, and we are going to be looking at some examples of Python functions. So what is Python function? Python function is a block of code which only runs when it is called. So a function, a function is a block of code, which only runs when it's called. So a Python function is block of functions, block of code which run when it is called. So you can look at function in this angle. So instead of you going to the market to buy, for instance, Maggi, or for you to start making Maggi all over again, So you just make one, or yeah, so you just make one. You just buy instead of going to the market to buy Maggi one. So you now decide to buy like a pack of the Maggi. So anytime you want to use the Maggi, instead of going to the market to go and buy one, you now pick from the pack which you already bought. All right. So and then you make use of it. So you don't have to go to the market to buy another Maggi again. That's another quantity which you need for the day. So that's likened to be function. So in Python, function is enables you to be able to write a block of code that can perform a specific action. But that action only comes into existence when you call on it. So let's look at, and then when you want to declare a function, or when you want to create a function, you make use of the this you make use of the Python function def. So the word def is define, right? It's defined. You are defining the function which which you want to create. So there are no limitations in terms of the variable names except for keyword, but there are no limitations for the variable. So in order for you to be able to declare your variable, you start like this: def today class. So this is how you declare a variable. Then you now say print, I am getting better with Python programming. I am getting ready with Python programming. Now, if you run this code, it is never going to work because just because you have a Python function doesn't mean it's going to work, or you've created it like this, it's not going to work. So what will now make this, on a very good day, once you say print, I'm getting better with Python programming, this particular Python was supposed to just print. But here it is not printing. Why? That is what we are going to look at. So in Python function, you need to do what we call calling a function. Calling a function for it to work. So you need to do what we call calling a function. So what is calling a function? Calling a function is the process of writing a code to be able to call this name of function which you've written here so that it can be able, so that your code can be able to display, or so that what you've created it for will work. So now I can run my program and it's going to work because I have done what I have been able to call my function. So the next thing we are going to be looking at in functions are arguments. So we are going to be looking at arguments. So what are arguments in Python? What are arguments in Python? So in the function argument in function, what it basically does is that information can be passed into function as argument. Now, you can be able to look at this here and then add the argument here. So arguments are usually specified after the function name inside the parentheses. So this is the parentheses. So you can specify the function name. So I will not be needing this guy. So I'm just going to comment them out. I'm just going to comment them out. Then let me explain that. Okay, so now I want to create a Python function that has an argument, and we are going to see how it works. So I'm going to say def my first function, for instance, equals to, then I can now see that name here, and always end it, or whatever. Whenever you are creating your program, always make sure you end it with, always make sure you end it with colon. Then I can say print, I can say print fname. Okay, so that's the argument plus the reference, or you can say greatness. Okay, so here now you can also say plus greatness. Now I want to be able to access my function. I want to call on my function, right? I want to call on my function. So I will now say my first function. Then I will now say Sabiboy, then Sabiboy plus greatness. So it's now Sabiboy greatness. So when I run this code, I'm not going to get Sabiboy greatness, but there are no space between the Sabiboy and greatness. So how do I go about it? So in order for me to go about it, I'll now come back here and add this and add a space bar. And then so if I now run this program, you can now see Sabiboy greatness has some space. So I want to believe you now understand what argument simply means. So this fname is the argument, and you can have as many arguments as you want. So the next thing we are going to be looking at, is arbitrary arguments. Arbitrary argument, so which is using asterisks, right? So what is arbitrary argument? You see that arbitrary argument is used when you don't know how many arguments that will be passed into your function. So you might want to know what is me passing argument to my function. So this is an argument. And when you write this argument here, right? When you write the argument here, and then you say you have passed this argument to my first function. Then when you don't know how many arguments, because you can have as many arguments that you want. For you to be able to do that, you make use of the asterisk, sorry. So we say that arbitrary argument is used, all right? Arbitrary argument, right, is used when you don't know the number, when you don't know the number of arguments that will be passed to your function, when you don't know the number of arguments. Okay? Arguments that will be passed to your function. Okay, to your function. So now let's see an example of arbitrary arguments. Okay, so one of the example of arbitrary argument is there. Let's see, fruit. So the name of my function is fruit. So I don't know the total number of fruits, so I am just going to write fruit. Okay. Now here I'll say print good fruits. Good fruits, right? It's excellent. Okay. Then here I can say plus. I can say fruits. Yeah. I'm just going to add extracts. So I can now say for my function. Let's see, mango, oh, sorry. So, banana. It's actually banana, that's right. What else again? Banana, orange. Okay, so I'm just going to stop here. I'm just going to stop here. So yeah, then I can just write it to run this. So good fruit is excellent. So you have orange. So good fruit is excellent, orange. So that is example of arbitrary argument. So you can also send argument with key equals to value syntax. So this way the order of the argument does not matter. So you can you can use key to keywords to specify like where the argument is going to be. So how do you go about that? You can just hit there, my function, I'll just say def my function. My function. So I'm just going to like name child1 as my argument, child2, child2, child1, child1. The youngest child is first child 3. So now I can now say, I can just call my function. I'll assign the child1 child1 with first just child2 equals to child3 equals to this one. So I'm just gonna run it. Okay. So the youngest child is Joshua. Okay, so this is very self-explanatory, as I'm going to be stopping here as we look further into Python functions as its core part of the program that will help you to become a good backend developer. See you in the next class.